Welcome to Tea Break Talk, where you get a front row seat to the conversations that really matter to busy garage owners, the ones that make a real difference to how you run your business. We talk to those at the very heart of the automotive aftermarket. In episode 4, Jim talks to Sean Satchwell from Laser Tools to discuss why invest in tools, consumables and EV equipment and how you can recoup those costs by being found online.
We had a garage locally that come into us because they were starting to see EV vehicles coming into the workshop, and they wanted us to point them in the right direction of tooling. So what we actually did was we supplied them with a toolkit through a local motor factor, and they actually used the unit next to them and created it as a hybrid auto centre. So that for them now, they're actually seeing 30% of the vehicles are actually hybrid electric vehicles. To start off with, they were seeing the odd car that was getting booked in, but now, a couple of weeks ago, we actually supplied a hydraulic lift for taking batteries out of the vehicle. So now they're getting to the point where they're actually taking the batteries out of Teslas. Wow. So for them, they've actually, again, it's about investment. They've invested in all the tooling that they need.
When all these garages that you're speaking to, whether they're investing in specific EV hybrid stuff or whatever, anything else, you know, what's on their mind is how are they going to recoup that investment. Mm-hmm. And the one thing they always need to explore with their web agency is the fact that they can recoup that by being found for that. Because one of the ultimate things is if it's not written about, it can't be found about, and you can't get an inquiry generated about that. But it's surprising that if you actually have your business aligned and reflected online, then you will always get those customers coming in to actually recoup that investment and start making a solid profit from that.
Mm-hmm. If somebody walks into the garage and they see they've got the right equipment, you know, it's like anything. If you go somewhere and it looks right and feels right, then you're gonna, you know, then you're gonna trust that person. So, and again, if people are investing in the right tooling, the right equipment, the right website, you know, to bring that traffic through the door, that's what's needed. So,
and I think, you know, sometimes that's lost within garages because for most people, you know, I think probably price is really secondary to honesty.
Yeah.
And if they go into a garage and they can see that it's fully equipped, it's properly equipped, it's smart, it's well organised, that gives them reassurance that whatever the result of the diagnosis of that car is going to be somewhat honest and there'll be a bit of integrity to that.
Yeah. I think then it's those first impressions about getting somebody back, you know, so doing a good job, you know, making sure you've got the right tools, the right equipment, you know, and getting that repeat business because, you know, that the first impressions count for that customer when they walk through the door. You want them back. You want them coming back to you year on year. So again, reviews is a big thing as well. I know, you know, a lot of people will go online and look at reviews, and again, that can make the difference whether it's something that might be £20-30 cheaper. But you know, if that person hasn't got good reviews online, then people won't go back. And I do think more and more people look at reviews now more than anything else. So
yeah, I think that is a considered behaviour that's changed over the last few years.
Yeah,
I think back in the day, word of mouth was everything. But now we have this, and you can then look at it yourself. You make your own judgment decision, and then, just as you say, invariably you then look at how many reviews have they got, and how good are they, and how varied are they. So I do think it's a bit of a, I would say that is a behaviour that has actually radically changed over the last 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah, and also as well as the garage reviews, there's, you know, reviews for tools. Yeah. You know, people will go on and review a tool, and you know, and I think it's the culture now is that people will go online. You know, if they've had a good experience, they give you 5 stars. You
know, and 3-4 years ago, even though it was around, hardly anybody was accessing the internet, speaking into their phone, speaking into a device at home, whether it be Alexa or Apple, whatever it might be. Now 22-23% of people are doing those. And again, if you're a business, a garage business particularly, you can imagine someone's driving and go, oops, actually, because it's a distressed purchase sector, they may be thinking, bloody hell, I'm in the car, I should be thinking about booking my in for an MOT or something. And now they can speak into their phone and find out which garages are around.
Yeah.
So it is always about keeping up with the latest behaviours. Like most business owners, sometimes garage owners also equally need to put themselves into their customer's shoes, where first impressions, whether it be online, really important, but equally followed up as to what's happening within the workshop. Customers will only ever be reassured by a garage that's properly equipped, properly organised, that the mechanics seem to know where they're going, they're not searching for this, that and the other. So Sean, how can you increase the efficiencies and therefore the profit of all the different garages that you serve up and down the country?
Yeah, one example I can give you is that I was actually out visiting a garage because we'd sold a hybrid EV kit into the garage. So I was out with the salesman from a local motor factory. I was actually talking to the garage, and we were actually doing something for a magazine that we were going to publish. But one thing while I was there, a delivery van turned up from a main dealer, and the guy had an injector washer stuck to a bit of paper, and the garage owner said, I've been waiting 2 days for this injector washer. And I actually said, look, we do injector washers within our range of consumables, Connect consumables. So I actually spoke to the garage owner and said, look, you waited 2 days for this injector, to arrive. We actually do a range of consumables. Do you want to look through the catalogue? Which he did. He then came back to us and said, look, there's 80 part numbers there that I'd like to put into a stand so that I've got access there in the garage. I'm not going to wait for this to be delivered, and it's going to save me money, it's going to save me time. So, and consequently, off the back of that, then he had things like trim clips, nuts, bolts, washers that he was actually charging out because it was a consumable item, as part of the job as well. So one thing that we try to do with every tool that we bring in is it's about saving time. So for us, if we can, a job that would normally take 3 hours, if we can, make that job take an hour and a half, then that gives them the time back to the garages. So how can Garage Services Online utilise that time that's there?
Well, and I think we're talking about pipeline now. So again, if the garage can identify and they've got everything set up, so they're going for maximum efficiency, and they've looked around and they've invested in the team and invested in the tooling for that team, for the type of jobs that they want to have coming in. What the website can do, if everything is aligned from the workshop all the way through to where we're first making contact with any potential customer, is that we can get the next job that they're perfectly equipped to do as well. So we can actually create more work for them in the same amount of time, because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're on your feet for 8 hours a day and you can make X amount more money by having everything aligned in terms of the efficiencies within the workshop to the type of work that you're dealing with over the phone because of the website and other marketing things, that has to be a good thing for any garage.
Look out for episode 5, where Jim and Andy Sava, the garage inspector, discuss why it's so important for garages to allocate a budget to promote their business and ensure they're visible online. Don't miss any episodes of Tea Break Talk. Subscribe to Garage Services Online's YouTube channel now, or listen on Spotify, Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts.